Good to see you again. Welcome back to Self-Help TV. In this episode, Self-Help TV outlines 14 risks everyone should take in life. Let's check it out. Life is nothing more than a series of calculated risks. Every action you take has a degree of risk. Because no outcome is ever 100% assured, any attempt at anything has a risk of failing completely. Every day of our lives, we put our lives in jeopardy without ever realizing it. Walking outside has the potential to kill us at any time. There's a chance we won't make it to our goal, a chance we won't see our loved ones again, and a chance tomorrow won't come. Risks are a part of life. You take some and avoid others. Your life is determined by the decisions you make, the chances you take, and how fortunate or unlucky you have been. Depending on how fortunate you consider yourself, you'll want to avoid certain dangers, such as going across a highway blindfolded. Similarly, there are some risks that everyone should accept in life. Why? Because they are virtually always required ingredients in the happy formula. Here are 14 of them. Before we proceed, kind reminder for our beloved viewers. Please click the notification bell for video update and don't forget to subscribe. Number 1. Take a chance and go down a less traveled path. It's risky to take the road less traveled. Because it hasn't been worn in by prior footsteps, it's easy to become lost. Because the brush has never been trimmed or tended to, you're likely to get hooked on a branch and become stuck for quite some time. Because the less traveled paths have yet to be marked out, the only thing you have to rely on to get to your destination is your wits, reasoning, tenacity, and a little luck. The way less traveled, on the other hand, leads to considerably richer spoils. You run the risk of never getting there, but it's well worth the effort once you do. Number 2. You run the risk of being rejected. You never know if that girl at the bar, or any girl at the bar, will reject you. It's the same when you're asking someone for something. We are frequently turned down not because of ourselves, but because of the person who is rejecting our request. It doesn't matter if you're attempting to gain someone's phone number or simply asking for a napkin, you'll always run into that jerk who won't even look at you. Because we don't want to be rejected, our egos are at it again, we often don't even inquire. If you don't ask, you won't get an answer. If you don't ask, you'll almost certainly get a no, but you'll also be reducing your chances of obtaining a yes. Number 3. There's a chance you won't be able to find work. We won't always be the most knowledgeable. We won't always be the brightest, smartest, or most qualified for the job. And there will be occasions when we are the best candidates for the job but are still turned down. That's just the way things are, but you still have to put yourself out there and risk being passed over for your dream job. People are frequently employed merely because they appear hungry and will get along well with the rest of the team. Experience isn't always the most important factor to consider. The danger of not getting the job is the same as the risk of getting it. Number 4. You run the risk of falling. The worst and best things that can happen to you are both failure and success. You succeed when you don't fail. When you fail, you succeed in figuring out a different technique to avoid failing. It simply doesn't feel as nice. We allow our emotions to get in the way of reasoning far too often. You can't succeed if you don't take the risk of failing. 100% of the time, success necessitates taking a chance on failure. Number 5. Take a chance and put everything on the line. If we do things correctly, there will come a time in our lives when we must choose whether or not to risk all and roll the dice. You are recommended to do so, and to do it sooner rather than later in life. The longer you wait to risk losing everything, the harder it will be to recover. The greatest benefits frequently necessitate the greatest risks. Just be smart about it and make sure you understand exactly what you're taking a chance on and what you'll get in return. Number 6. Take a chance on missing out in order to accomplish something bigger. FOMO exists among the younger generation. We don't want to miss out on any parties, get-togethers, calm sessions, festivals, concerts, or nightlife. We're scared that if we remain home and get some rest, we'll miss out on something monumental, maybe life-changing. Consider this: for years, you've been making sure you don't miss out on anything. How many of those opportunities have resulted in a positive shift in your life? Number 7. There's a chance that person won't say, "I love you," too. Nobody wants to be the first to express their love for someone. It's understandable if you don't get a "I love you" back. Consider how wonderful it will feel if that individual returns your affection. He or she is probably worried about the same thing as you, waiting for you to act. And if that individual doesn't love you back, you'll at least know where things stand and be able to dispel your own illusions. Number 8. Take a chance and make a mistake. If you want to achieve in life, you must make mistakes. That is how we learn. If you aren't making mistakes, you aren't working hard enough. To put it another way, you're not living long enough. Take the risk of making those mistakes, since they are what make our life interesting to read about. Number 9. You might lose a friend. Friendships can be wonderful, but they can also be confining. Following our dreams frequently necessitates a significant amount of solitude. Friendships make it harder to devote the time necessary to complete the work that must be completed. True friends, in my opinion, should always support you and your goals. They should realize that you may need to put some distance between you and work together to keep the friendship alive, even if you don't see one another nearly as much. Number 10. Take the chance of not being good enough. There's always the possibility that you won't measure up. But isn't it something you'd like to know as well? It's a simple fact that you're either good enough or not. When we believe we are good enough, we are frequently mistaken. This is crucial information, since it tells you how much more effort you'll need to put in before you'll be successful. But if you don't take the risk of not being good enough, you'll never know if you are. Number 11. There's a chance you'll launch too soon. We often wait until we have perfected our product, whether it's a physical equipment, a service, or even our own self, before releasing it to the public. The truth is that no one ever creates the ideal product or service on the first try. In fact, the ideal outcome is determined by the feedback you receive from others. After multiple iterations of testing, this input is received. You will miss out on key learning if you wait too long to start. Number 12. Take a chance on being assessed by putting yourself out there. We despise being criticized, regardless of how often we evaluate others and how often we are judged ourselves. Everyone judges, it's in our nature as humans to do so. Put yourself out there and allow yourself to be judged. Because you aren't marketing yourself to everyone, most individuals won't be a substantial part of your life, the majority of their opinions are irrelevant. Number 13. Take a chance and confess that you don't know everything. It's not something to be ashamed of if you don't know something. The difference between knowing and not knowing is razor thin. For example, I may know nothing about a topic 1 second and then learn something new 2 minutes later after someone explains something to me. It's insane. It took only a few minutes, not seconds. Knowledge is the simplest thing to acquire, but only if you ask questions and take the risk of admitting your ignorance. Number 14. Be willing to be vulnerable and open up. When it comes to relationships, it's crucial to open up and disclose your whole, authentic self. I'm afraid it's a condition of love. If you don't let yourself be vulnerable and open up, your spouse will never see the real you and, as a result, will never be able to love you for who you are. To have it all, you have to put everything on the line. If you want to experience the deepest level of love, you must take the risk of giving yourself completely to the person you love. Which risk is the hardest to take? And which risk is the easiest to take? Which risk have you ever taken? What do you think about it? Write your comment below. Click the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching and see you in the next episode.